Welcome to Godless and Grounded. Today we're talking about one of my favorite topics. Not because it's deep, not because it's profound, but because it's honestly hilarious, the laughable reasons. People still think God is real. Now, don't get me wrong. I understand why people believe. Religion is old, powerful, and deeply emotional. But when you actually listen to the reasons people give, they're less like rock-solid arguments, and more like excuses that sound smart until you think about them for 10 seconds. So let's go through them, slowly, carefully, and with a bit of humor, because some of these reasons are so weak, they deserve a good laugh. One of the classics is, look at the trees. Look at the sunset. How can you see all this beauty and not believe in God? This one is cute. It really is. But let's break it down. Beauty is not evidence. If beauty proved truth, then chocolate cake would prove the existence of a pastry god. And puppies would prove the existence of a cuteness god. Yes, the stars are breathtaking. Yes, the ocean is stunning. But beauty is just a human reaction. It tells us more about our brains than it does about the universe. And here's the real kicker: if you're using beauty as proof of God, then what about the ugly stuff? What about earthquakes that flatten cities? What about cancer in children? What about parasites that eat eyes from the inside out? Is that beauty? Or do we just conveniently ignore it when it doesn't fit the narrative? If sunsets prove God, then hurricanes should disprove him. But believers never follow the logic both ways. Another one you hear is, everything must have a creator. The universe is here, so someone must have made it. Sounds logical at first, right? Until you notice the sneaky little problem. If everything must have a creator, then who created God? And that's when believers pull the emergency lever. Oh, well, God has always existed. Wait a second. Didn't you just say everything needs a creator? You can't make a rule and then give your favorite being a free pass. That's called special pleading. If you can say God has always existed, then I can say the universe has always existed in some form. The difference is, my explanation doesn't add an invisible person sitting in the sky. It's like saying, every building needs a builder. Every watch needs a watchmaker. Therefore, the universe needs God. Okay. But then who made God's brain complex enough to design galaxies? If complexity requires a designer, then God must be even more complex, and therefore needs an even bigger God to design him. And on and on. It's turtles all the way down. Now here's one of the funniest: I feel God in my heart. I just know he's real. I hear this one so often it could be a ringtone. But here's the issue: feelings are not proof. If feelings prove truth, then every religion would be correct at the same time. Christians feel Jesus in their heart. Muslims feel Allah in their heart. Hindus feel Krishna in their heart. Mormons feel the burning in their bosom. They can't all be right. What feelings prove is that humans are really good at convincing themselves of whatever they want to believe. It's called psychology. It's not divine revelation, it's neurons firing. Think about it: people also feel their horoscope is true. People feel lucky when they wear their special socks. People feel like their deceased relatives visit them in dreams. Feelings don't equal facts. This next one. Oh, it's golden. The Bible says God is real. Therefore, God is real. That's like me writing a book that says, I am the king of the universe. And by the way, don't question this book. And then expecting you to bow down because hey, the book says it, so it must be true. We don't apply that logic anywhere else. Imagine someone hands you a copy of Harry Potter and says, see, this book proves wizards are real. You'd laugh. But when it comes to religious texts, people suddenly forget how logic works. Yes, the Bible exists. So does the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Book of Mormon, and ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs about writing something down is evidence of belief, not evidence of truth. If old books alone were proof, then Zeus, Thor, and Odin would all be alive and kicking too. Then there's the emotional one: without God, life has no meaning. This one always makes me pause. Because what they're really saying is, I can't imagine life being meaningful without a big invisible parent giving me instructions. But meaning isn't handed down from the clouds. Meaning is made by us. Your relationships. Your passions. Your goals. Your hobbies. Those things give life meaning. You don't need God to love your family. You don't need God to enjoy music. You don't need God to care about your community. And here's a thought. If the only reason someone acts moral is because they're scared of hell or hoping for heaven, is that morality, or is that just bribery? Another funny one: miracles prove God is real. Okay, let's test that. What counts as a miracle? Someone gets better after surgery. A car accident victim survives. Someone prays for rain and eventually it rains. But notice something: these are all things that happen naturally. People recover from illness. People survive accidents. Rain eventually falls. If you want me to believe in miracles, show me something that defies all natural law. Like, I don't know, an amputated leg growing back overnight. Or a mountain levitating into the sky. Or a prayer that instantly replaces lost teeth. Funny thing is, those kinds of miracles never happen. Instead, miracles are always vague. Always coincidental, always easy to explain by chance. And when the miracle doesn't happen, believers say, well, it just wasn't God's will. Translation: God gets credit when it works, but no blame when it doesn't. Heads I win, tails you lose. Oh, here's a laughable one. Billions of people believe in God. They can't all be wrong. Really? Because billions once believed the earth was flat. Billions believed disease was caused by demons. Billions believed witches were real. Popularity doesn't equal truth. If it did, Santa Claus would be real every December. Reality is not a democracy. You don't get to vote on gravity. Another common one: look how complex the human body is. It couldn't have happened by chance. This is the old design argument. But here's the thing: complexity does not prove design. Snowflakes are complex. Crystals are complex. DNA is complex. Complexity comes out of simple processes repeated billions of times. Evolution explains life's complexity without needing an invisible engineer. And let's be honest, if God designed the human body, then he's a pretty clumsy designer. Our backs constantly ache because we weren't built for upright walking. Our food and air pipes cross, which is why people choke. Our eyes have blind spots. Our wisdom teeth don't fit in our mouths. This isn't intelligent design, it's sloppy design. Trial and error fits the evidence way better than perfect creator. Now let's tackle the accusation one. Atheists just don't want to believe in God because they want to sin. First of all, atheists don't even believe in sin. That's a religious word. Second, people don't need atheism to behave badly. Religious people lie, cheat, steal, and even wage holy wars, all while holding the Bible or Quran in their hands. Meanwhile, plenty of atheists live honest, kind, compassionate lives. Why? Because morality comes from empathy and reason, not fear of punishment. If the only thing stopping you from committing crimes is your belief in God, then I don't trust you around my wallet. Here's another gem: you can't prove God isn't real. That's not how proof works. You can't prove invisible unicorns aren't real either. You can't prove Bigfoot doesn't exist. You can't prove there isn't a teapot orbiting the sun right now. The burden of proof is always on the person making the claim. If you say there's a God, show evidence. Otherwise, we're not obligated to believe. Just like we're not obligated to believe in fairies or flying spaghetti monsters. And then there's Pascal's wager: what if you're wrong? Isn't it safer to believe in God just in case? At first, this sounds clever. But think about it. Which God? The Christian one? The Muslim one? The Hindu gods? You can't believe in all of them. If you pick the wrong one, by their own rules, you're in trouble anyway. And let's be real, belief isn't something you can fake. You can't just say, okay fine, I'll believe just in case. That's not belief, that's pretending. And surely, if God is all-knowing, he'd see right through that. Plus, living your life, just in case, means wasting your one short existence in fear and obedience. It's like never going swimming because, what if there are sharks? Sure, it's technically safer, but you miss out on life. Now here's one that always cracks me up: atheists are just angry at God. That's like saying I'm angry at unicorns. Or I hate Santa Claus. You can't be mad at something you don't believe exists. What atheists are often frustrated with is not God, but religion, the rules, the control, the harm it causes. But being angry at God? That's like being angry at Zeus for not letting you borrow his thunderbolt. And of course, the ultimate fallback: you just have to have faith. Faith is believing without evidence. But believing without evidence isn't a virtue, it's how people get scammed. Imagine a car salesman saying, "Don't ask for proof. Just have faith this car works." Would you buy it? Probably not. Yet when it comes to God, billions of people are okay with turning off their critical thinking and calling it a virtue. When you lay them all out, you realize the reasons people give for God aren't profound at all. They're emotional crutches. They're logical shortcuts. They're cultural habits passed down without question. Humans used to invent gods to explain thunder, disease, the sun, the stars. But the more we learned, the smaller the gods became. Now they only live in the gaps of knowledge. And every year, those gaps shrink. So yes, the reasons are laughable. They sound deep in a Sunday sermon, but in the cold light of reason, they crumble. Thanks for listening, and welcome once again to Godless and Grounded, where we don't fall for excuses, no matter how beautiful, emotional, or popular they sound.